Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you everything you need to know to get started in Final Cut Pro, from creating the project to export. So I've already started a library here. It's called Tutorial. I'll open it up real quick. So to create a library, which is basically, the library is what all of your media is stored in. It's sort of the main folder in Final Cut. You can see right here in the Finder in this this video external hard drive. These are all the libraries, and in each one of these libraries is all of the media that was created either in camera or inside Final Cut. To start a new library, you go to File, New Library. So I've already created the library here, which is called Tutorial. Let's say you had a cooking show on YouTube or whatever, even on TV. So you would name the library Cooking Show, and you would name your first event. This is the way I would do it. 001 Making Cookies. And then you would import all your media into this event, and then after you were done with that project, you would do the same. Go to File, New, Event 002 Making Pizza, or whatever you want to call it. Now when you make the events, it's going to automatically create a new project. The project is basically the timeline. It's what you edit on. So let me cancel this. Let me go back to this one. It did not make one here. So to make a project, go File, New, Project. Name the project Making Cookies, if I can spell. Your video, this is the format, either 4K or 1080p, whatever file format you're using. Rendering, you want it to be on Apple ProRes 422 most of the time. Audio, stereo, all this, or you could use automatic settings. Automatic settings, when you drag your first piece of video into the timeline, it will automatically change the project to whatever file format that video is. But I like to create it 4K. Most of my videos 4K. So Apple ProRes 422, audio, blah, 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 hit OK. So here it is. This is the timeline down here. This is where you'll edit. So let's import some video. I have a card here. I have no idea what's on it. When you put it into the card reader, it's automatically going to pop up the media import window. Make sure it's add to existing event over here. If you have more than one event or even more than one library open, this could be different. So you want to make sure this is correct. I always like to copy the files to the library. I know some people like to keep their they will drag their files from the card on their hard drive, and then import from the hard drive into, but you have a copy of, it doesn't make sense to me. I always like to copy the files to the library. Maybe there's other situations where you don't have to do that, but this is the way I do it. I don't ever click on balance color, find people, I don't need that. You can create optimized media. What it does, it creates a file format that's easier for Final Cut Pro to play. Create proxy media. Basically it creates a smaller version of the optimized media in case you have a slow computer or you're doing multicam. Let's say you have like 5 or 6 or 10 different videos rolling at the same time in multicam. You might want to create proxy media. It just makes it where your computer won't be so sluggish. A lot of people think if you create proxy media, it's going to save you space on your hard drive, which is totally opposite. Because if you create proxy media, you're still going to have your original files. If you created optimized media, you're going to have optimized media. And if you create proxy, you're going to have proxy media. So you're going to have 3 versions of one file. You're going to have the original, optimized, and proxy, or the original and proxy. So if you don't have to create optimized or proxy, don't do it. Do a test first. Just import with the optimized media off. If it doesn't work, you can always change it to optimized after you've already imported. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Analyze audio, separate mono. I like to separate mono and group stereo, and I like to remove the silent channels. There's no point of having a channel of audio if there's nothing even on it. And another reason I like to import this way is, let's say you have a card and you've videoed a lot of things and you've imported some, and you go out back and shoot some more, and then you want to import that. this little drop down, it'll say hide imported clips. So let me import a few video clips here. This does some GoPro stuff. And import selected. These little circles. This is the import progress bar. Okay, so the video just finished importing. You can see right here it's transcoding to optimized media. So if you didn't transcode to optimized media and you need to, or you need to convert to proxy media, this is the way you do it. So select whatever files. If you want to select multiple files, then click Command, click on the file, click Command, and then you can select multiple files. Right click and transcode media. This is where it gives you the option to create optimized media or create proxy media. I don't want to do that. It's creating the optimized media, so that's what I'll use. So this drop down will allow you to make the video thumbnails bigger or smaller. This is, we'll stretch them out if you need to see more. Let's see if you have a 5-minute clip and you want to really see what's in here. This just gives you a quick little thumbnail. You can group by content created. You can figure that stuff out yourself. Sort by, the same. Waveforms, we'll put the audio waveforms here. I like to keep that on. I don't use continuous playback. So let's make sure this is selected, and let's edit a few clips real quick. So let's say I just want this little piece right here. You can scrub along. You want to make sure right down here this is selected. This allows you to scrub along the video. This allows you to scrub along the video and you can hear it. That annoys me. I always keep it turned off. This is snapping. We'll talk about that later. So make sure this is turned on, and then you can drag along and you can see, kind of get an idea what you want to, what part you want to edit. So find your endpoint. You can either select, you can hit I on your keyboard, which will mark an in, and then put the playhead where you want it to be out and hit O for out. That's one way to do it. Or you can just find the part you want to edit and then just click your mouse, hold it down and drag, and then let off. Now to get it on the timeline, there's two ways. You can drag it down. That's the easiest. I'll hit Command Z to undo that, or you can hit E. This creates your first video clip, which is the main storyline. Let's add another piece of video to it. Let's just drag along here and drag it down. And whatever's on the main storyline, when you put your next clip, it's going to automatically butt it up to the first clip. Let's do it again here. Drag something, drag it down here. Now if you want to put some B-roll on top of this stuff, you can just go like this. That way this is attached to this, and if you want to drag it over here, at the end of the video, there it is. Now let's say I want to start the edit here. There's a few ways to do this. You can make sure select this is selected, and hit A to select that, and you can drag it this way and drag it back and forth. Another way you can do it, if you want to select a region and edit it out, you can hit the R tool, which is range. Let's say I want this part edited out. Hit the range tool and just select a range and hit delete, and it's gone. So here are the main the tools that you're going to use a lot. A is select. That's pretty much trimming back and forth. The trim tool, T, is if you get right in between two clips, and then you can drag it back and forth like this. Position tool, I don't ever use position tool. Range tool, range selection is what I showed you. If you have that selected, you can do it like that, and then hit delete, and hit undo. B for blade. Let's say you're editing, you're scrolling along here, so I want to edit this part out. Click it, it'll cut the video, drag it over, cut it there, go back to your A, and delete. And you see how the playhead snaps to the cuts. This right here is the snapping. You turn snapping on and off. So if you have that on, it will snap to. It's like a magnet. It just kind of snaps to it. I like to keep it on most of the time. but you can turn it off, on and off. Zoom. If you want to zoom in on the timeline, I'll show you an easy way to do that. If you hit Command plus, you can zoom in on the timeline. If you want to go the other way, hit Command minus. If you want the length of your video to be exactly the length of this area, hit Shift Z. And if you want to change the way this looks, there's a little drop down here, and you can make it, you know, change the size that way. There's some options in here, so you can go do it this way. That makes it small, no audio. You can see some audio waveforms there, and they get bigger. And the last one is just nothing but audio. I like to keep it about right there so I can see the video, thumbnail, and the audio. This will make it taller. So now you want to add some transitions. Over here to the right is this little funky looking thing. Click on it. Here are all your transitions. Here's dissolves, blurs. A lot of this stuff I've purchased, so if you have Final Cut, if you just bought Final Cut, you might not have some of this stuff. So drag it between the two clips. You can see it. Let me render it real quick. Let me turn the volume down. It's loud. And there you go. And you can change the duration of this by either expanding it this way. You can change the duration by hit Control D. And right here, it tells you the length of it. It's 1 second and 19 frames. Control D again. It selects it, and let's say I want it to be 2 seconds. So hit 200. It's 2 seconds. Control D. Let's say I want it to be 12 frames. 1, 2, 12 frames. So now let's add some effects to the video. Right next to the transitions is this little icon. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Click on it, and here are all the effects. So here's cinematic. You're not gonna have this. I purchased this, which was a mistake, but scrub along this. It will give you a preview of what it looks like. If you like the way it looks, then just double click on it. Whatever clip you want to apply the effect to, make sure you have it selected, and just double click, and there it is. If you want to see the parameters of the effect, make sure it's selected. Up here is the inspector. Let me show you this real quick. So this icon will get rid of this over here. This one will get rid of this over here. So now you can see just, you know, the screen of what you're playing. If you want to go back to the browser, there it is. You can actually close that over here too. So let's close that. Let's go back over here to the inspector. This first tab shows whatever effect is applied to it. Transform, crop. Transform will give the options for scale, that kind of stuff. Rotation, crop, you can crop the video. Distort, if you have some video that you want to stabilize, here's stabilization. Rolling shutter. The next little icon is the color correction, and there are a few color correction options in here. You can do the color board, color wheels, color curves. That's for a whole nother video if you want to learn about color correction. And then the next icon is the audio. This is where you adjust the audio. This is the information, I guess. This tells you information about the video clip that's selected. So that's how you apply an effect, and a little bit about the inspector over here. So let's add some text to this. So open the browser back up over here. There are 3 icons up here. This is where your library is. This has where you can get to your photos, some Logic Pro stuff, GarageBand music, sound effects. You can dig into that and figure it out yourself. And to the next icon, this is the text. Titles and generators. There's 3D titles, 3D cinematic titles, lower third. There's a lot of build in and outs. I mean, this is just something you have to go through and see what suits you the best. There are a bunch of generators with backgrounds, solids, textures. So I'm going to show you a really quick, easy way to make a title. So put your playhead at the beginning of where you want your title to start and hit Control T, and it will make a basic title. You can drag this out to however long you want the title to be. To edit the title, make sure it's selected on the timeline, double click, and this will come up over here. You can type here or you can type over here. I like to type over here, it just makes it easier. Testing tutorial video. And once it's selected, this little circle thing in the middle comes up, and it allows you to move the text around. So let's leave it in the middle for now. Now if you want to change any of the parameters of this text, make sure it's selected. That you can change the font, you can change the size, you can change the alignment, you can change the color of it. Let's change it to red, I guess. Let's change it to yellow. You can add an outline, a glow, a drop shadow, and once they're selected, hit show, and you can go in and change the parameters of, the drop shadows or outlines or whatever you want to use. There are also some 3D stuff in here. There's 2D styles. I like to use heavy. There's also some 3D stuff in here, so that's kind of cool. It's a little big, so you'll have to bring the size down. So as you're playing it, you'll see that the text comes up. Now it's not playing smooth because it hasn't been rendered. See this line right here, this dotted line? That means this part of the video has not been rendered yet. So hit Control-Shift-R, it will render the video. If you want to see the progress, go up here to this little icon, click on it, and it'll say rendering, background render. Alright, so here it is. There's the video, playing it. If you want to put a dissolve on this text so it just doesn't come up so drastically, you can go to your effects, scroll up to dissolves, cross dissolve, and make sure it's selected, double click on it, and it will put a dissolve on it. Let me render it, let it play, and you can see how the text, it dissolves up. And of course you can change how long you want this dissolve to be by stretching it out, changing the length of it. Alright, so now we have a horrible video edited because it's just like a random video up and down. Let me render it real quick. Now you want to export. This is the way to export. Up here at the top right, there is this little icon. Click on it, and it will give you options to export. This is the way I always do it. Click on Master File. Go to Settings. Make sure the format is on Video and Audio. Video codec H.264. If you do the source Apple ProRes 422, the file size is going to be huge. So H.264 is the way to go. It's going to be an MOV file. It's going to be 922 megabytes. If you want to make it an MP4, where it says Format, click on it, go down to Computer, click Better Quality. You can actually change the resolution from 4K to HD, or there's some other options in there, and it will change it to an MP4. For YouTube, I like to do it as a H.264, and then you hit Next and export it to your desktop, and then upload it straight from your desktop or wherever you're going to save it. So another really quick tip before I finish this video: if you are running out of storage on your hard drive or your external hard drive and you need to free up some space, this is one way to do it. Make sure your library is selected, go to File, Delete Generated Library Files, and Delete Render Files. You can either delete the unused only or all. Now if you're finished with the project, if you're finished with all the projects that you've been working on and you haven't started your new one yet, hit all, click all. Just get rid of all the render files. You can always re-render. You can also delete the optimized media and delete the proxy media. So after you're finished with projects, go in here, delete your optimized media, delete your proxy media, delete all that stuff, and it will free up a lot of space on your computer. So I think I covered everything in this video on how to get started in Final Cut Pro. If you have any questions about anything on Final Cut Pro, leave a comment below and I'll see if I can answer it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Thanks for watching.